Welcome to another FACEHAMMER video. It's me, Russ the Face, and I'm going to be talking about the new Echoes of Doom box set, which is on pre-order today. Some of the War Scrolls and rules that come in that box set. So Byron's not here right now. I'm going to Carnage tomorrow, so when this premieres, I will be currently playing my first round opponent. But I thought I'd do a quick video to go through the War Scrolls, what's in the box, because Games Workshop sent us a copy, so thank you very much for that. It comes with stuff like the mini rulebook, which is useful, but if you play match play, then it's in your General's Handbook anyway, so I'm not sure if you need that, but it's quite handy if you need a set. It comes with all the War Scrolls, some cool models, probably one of my favourite models for a long time, which is this chap, which is the Death Master, which is an absolutely amazing sculpt. Obviously, the rules and all the guff and background, which we're going to talk about. Some scenarios and some narrative play elements, which we don't cover on our channel. We really only talk about match play. So obviously the main thing we're going to be talking about are the new War Scrolls, which will be upcoming in the new Sylvaneth and Skaven battle tomes, which are coming soon. Obviously, this is following the same format where you have a box set with the two forces, and then a few weeks later, you'll get the battle tomes dropping on the same weekend. We just had the Night Haunted Daughters one drop after the Arena of Shades box set. We covered that video in a video, that box set, and that was quite popular, so thought we'd do the same with the Echoes of Doom. So this is Skaven and Sylvaneth, so two books that are very popular and people have been waiting a long time for an update, so it'd be interesting to see what we can glean from the box set in terms of new rules or hints at what may be coming in the battle tome. Obviously, there's no allegiance abilities in this book, so the current ones would still stand for the interim. We don't know what's going to change, but maybe we can pick up some clues. Obviously, I'll caveat this with there are changes usually between the box set and the battle tome. So we saw it with the Idoneth, with the Shark's Wound characteristic, with some of the save characteristics on the Night Haunt stuff. So obviously when the books drop, we'll do a full review of both the Sylvaneth and Skaven Tide. So take this with a pinch of salt, but it should give a little hint about the sort of things that might be coming. And there's some new War Scrolls. There's quite a lot of new models in this set, whereas others have only had like a hero. We've seen as well from the Adepticon reveals that there's some, I call it bug riders for the Sylvaneth coming, but you've also got a new hero and a new unit in this box set, and also the Death Master sculpt, which is new, but it's not really a new War Scroll because that was in the old book, but it has been significantly reworked. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is the box art, very nice, very evil. So we've got the Lady of Vines. We're going to go straight through the War Scrolls and the points, and I'll just talk through them because I think that's really what people are interested in. I'm sure people will do lots of hobby videos and building and painting. It's not something that we do a lot of on this channel, but yeah. So Lady of Vines, 10 wounds, 3 up armor save, movement 8. This is a new hero, so I'm assuming this is a named character. Might actually tell us in the points, actually. She is unique, yeah, so I thought she was. So she's a War Master, so she counts as a general even if not a general, so that's always handy to have. 10 wounds means she counts as not a sub commander. She's 8, so actually she will count as a bigger hero, so that might be a bit tricky with battalions if you want a one drop, etc. Got a shooting attack, 18-inch range, 2s and 2s, Ren 1 d6 damage. You know, that's fairly good. I mean, it's a little bit unreliable, but 2s and 2s you should generally force them to make a save. Melee profile, 3-inch reach, which is nice because, you know, being able to attack over the top of units. 7 attacks, basically. Freeze, rend 1, damage 2 for all intents and purposes. Some are damage D3, but it'll come out in the wash. It could have just been 7 attacks, damage 2, really. I mean, it would make Flaming Weapon a bit good on her, but she can't take it because she's a named character. So she's a wizard. She has 2 spells, which is cool. It's quite an interesting rule here. Friendly Sylvaneth units wholly within 6 are treated as being wholly within 6 of Awakened Wildwood. So in the Sylvaneth army, there's lots of rules that key off Wildwoods in the current battle tome, so I assume that flavour is going to stay. So she's like a walking wildwood. That might be quite useful. I don't know what those rules will be. We can see some on when we get to the Spirit of Durfu, some of the rules that he has with this, but we'll see how it goes. Then she's got the special rule Riving Vines, which is start the combat phase. So for each of the enemy units, you can say it will enter either create a barrier or ensnare. So basically, it's -1 to hit, or it's +1 to hit for its attacks. But it's only the things that target her. So, yeah, it's fairly good. I mean, she's got 10 wounds with a 3-up armor save, so it's fairly tanky anyway, which we would expect from Sylvaneth tree style models. I mean, she's not very big. She's kind of like a mini treeman, like almost like a Dreicher equivalent. She's got Rouse to Wrath once per battle. If this unit's on the battlefield at the end of your movement phase, you can say it will call allies force on a 2+. You can get a unit of 10 dryads, sign it a SERP 9 away from enemies, wholly within 9 of an overgrown terrain feature or awakened wildwood. So you could do it within 6 of her, wholly within 6, because she's technically an awakened wildwood. Yeah, so on a 2+, get 10 dryads. So that's not. I mean, it's going to feel bad when you roll that one, right? But most games you should get a unit of 10. Then she's got Aspect to the Everqueen. It's a spell. It's cast on a 7, range of 12, and this is really good. If it's successful, until the next hero phase, friendly Sylvaneth units have a ward of 5 up while within range. Very powerful, but it's a 7. So how often will you cast it? I don't really know. It's going to be one of those things that if it casts off, it's going to be really good. But if you fail that, then that's going to be a significant downer on the defensiveness of your army, because ward saves in Sylvaneth are quite hard to come by at the moment. We'll see. She's quite cool. She's a forest folk hero, wizard, Lady of Vines, Order Sylvaneth, obviously. If we go to the points, she's 340 points in this book. Again, he's subject to change, so we don't know if that's the final points. Spirit of Durfu, a bit of rework on him. So he's got extra wounds, still a 3-up save. His profile's basically the same. The difference is he brackets differently. So one of the key bits here is that he used to lose the d6 damage, the 6 flat damage, once he took 3 wounds. Now it's 6 wounds. Obviously with a 3+ save, that's fairly hard to do that before he gets to swing. He's also got, they changed his Stomp Rule. So it used to be like on a 4-up you strike last. Now it's a monstrous rampage, which means obviously you can't do it more than one place in your army. It's at the end of the charge phase, but it's on a 3+. They have strike last, so that's quite good. Obviously, if you're playing against Sylvaneth, if you can charge something outside of 3 that then kill it and then pile in to get him, then you would avoid that, because obviously you don't want to be going last. If he's hitting you with damage 6, you know, he's only got 3 attacks. So I think he's lost an attack. I think he used to have 4. I might be wrong. He's also lost the Impale ability with the Talon. That used to have its own special rule. That's gone. So he's got the Spirit Paths ability, which allows him to basically teleport, which he's got at the moment. Basically works the same. Obviously, the Lady of Vines would count. So if he's within 6 of her, you could activate that. Or if he was somewhere else and you wanted to go to where she was, you could do that too. There's no funkiness with slingshotting because it's the same timing as start of the movement phase. So I thought you might better move her than teleport from her, but you can't. Then Wrathful Guardian, so you get +1 attacks with his sword while he's wholly within 9 of an overgrown terrain feature or awakened wildwood. Again, he wouldn't count wholly within 9 of her. He'd have to be within 6 because that's her rule. Also, it's not +2 attacks like it used to be, so it looks like his attacks have dropped. He's got more wounds. He doesn't bracket as much, so he's okay. He's obviously a monster as well. Got that new rampage, so that's more reliable. And his points, he's 375, so it's quite expensive for what he is. But obviously the shooting attack's not rubbish either, so that's, you know, damage 2. That's pretty good. 15-inch range. I always think it's a really underrated ability on the Spirit of Durfu. Then we've got the Kurnoth Hunters. So these are essentially almost the same, you know, 30-inch range bow. Force freeze, Ren 1, damage 2. It used to be D3, so it's a bit more consistent. Gets plus one attack of the champion. They've lost the command point thing where they could count as being in range. They've changed that rule to after a friendly hero issues all out attack, all out defense, you could pick a Sylvaneth unit, whole even 6 this unit. So it could be themselves, roll a dice. On a 4+, that unit also receives the command, even if they've already had a command. So you could have all out attack and defense on the same unit if you roll that 4+, but it's a bit unreliable. They've still got the Stomp, which is the mortal wound. And it's 1 inch of this unit and roll a dice for each model in this unit. So it's like almost that slingshot damage again. So if you've got like 4, 6 in a line, you know, in a blob, and there's one thing here, you could roll 6 dice and do mortals to that one thing rather than per model. So it's not 1 inch of the model. So I know with the thing with the scythes, they had a 2 inch reach, but then if you didn't get in within a 1 inch, they can stomp you, but that's kind of gone. We don't know if they're going to have that Shield of Thorns thing where they can't pile in. They used to have that for bonus save, but they've got a free up armor save anyway, which is fairly good. And then we've got the new unit, the Gosamid Archers. These look really, really good, to be honest. These look almost like Skyfire level. There's only a 12-inch range on the bow, thankfully, but they do move 12. They fly, 2 wounds each, 5 up save, so not particularly resilient. You get 5 of them in a unit. They've got 2 shots, freeze, no rend, 1 damage. But if they roll a 6, then they take D3 mortal wounds. So every 6 you roll to hit is D3 mortals. So that could spike really, really nasty. Obviously D3 is a little bit unreliable because it could be, you could get 3 D3s and then roll 3 mortal wounds, or you could roll 9. So it's very swingy, but you know, it's pretty good. And then they've got quite an interesting rule that they've obviously got coherency if they're within 2 inches rather than 1 inch. So that's useful for, it's probably just because the models have got massive wings. It could be useful if you want to screen with them. And then it's got this rule, which is the Zephyr sprites. So after this unit's received Unleash Hell and you've done its shots, if it's within 3 of an enemy unit, you can roll a dice. On a 2+, you can retreat. So basically you can shoot someone and then just move out of combat on a 4+, or sorry, on a 2+. So getting them to unleash hell and then they're going to be able to move away. It's going to be a real pain to try and get these guys in combat. I mean, not only do you take the shot, but they also get to move backwards and or away or onto an objective or block another one of your charges. So you're going to have to be really careful about how you engage with these guys. Again, probably the best way is to, and even then it's almost to charge something else. They unleash hell, but they're not within 3 inches of the enemy. And then when you pile in and then hit them so they can't get away. So it is going to be really difficult. But we'll see how it goes. Then we're on to the Skaven Tide Scrolls. I should do their points, shouldn't I? So the points for those are 255 for the Code of Hunters with Great Bows, which seems nuts expensive to me. And the Gossamid Archers for 5 models is 215. So again, very expensive. I mean, they could be really good, but if you had like a unit of 10, that's like 430 points. That's more expensive than 6 long strikes. Are they as good as 6 long strikes? I don't think so. So we'll see how the battle tone plays out, but the costs of these units look eye-wateringly expensive. So you might not have a lot of models. They might be quite elite. It depends what other synergies and things you can do with them, but that Unleash Hell move is going to be very strong if played correctly. Obviously, the Lady of Vines seems quite cheap because she gives you a unit of Dryads, pretty much. I mean, it's on a 2+ though, so if you roll a 1, I'm not sure how I feel about stuff in an order book being very, very swingy and unreliable. Like if you roll a 1, it's bad. If you roll a 1 for the archers, they don't move. If like that, you know, you don't roll that stomp rampage to go last on a 3 up. There's a lot of 3 up, 4 up, 4 up to copy the command ability. You know, the 7 to cast for the ward. They're all very impactful, but they seem very unreliable for order. Normally order are very reliable, so I don't know if that's just me thinking out loud, but I don't know how often that that will be a problem. But that new unit does seem very good, but that is a very hefty price tag. Obviously, we don't know if that's the final price, but that's what it is right now. So we've got the Skaven site stuff. So very interesting. The Grey Steel on Screen Bells had a massive rework. So it's still movement 6. It needs to be pushed to battle. You know, it's got all the sort of standards. It's got more wounds. Not really so much worried about the combat profile. The Rusty Spikes is 6 attacks and it goes down rather than D6 or 2D6 if it charges. It's got a casting and a chanting bonus. It's got the totem wizard keyword. It's got some new special rules. So push to battle, it loses the extra attacks on the rusty blades when it charges, but it cannot move unless it starts to move in 6 of 10 or more other Skaven models. So that's to be from the same unit. They can be for different units. You can move them, then move this. So you can move something near it, then push it, and then, you know, so it's not like you have to be there to start the battle. One of the big things really, it's got a ward save still. So it's still got a 5-up ward. But it says at the start of your hero phase, you can say the unit would beseech the Horn Rat. Instead of casting spells, it becomes a priest, and it gets the priest keyword. Now, they're going to have to do something with FAQ in this, because why would you do that? Because he doesn't come with a prayer, and you can't, because he doesn't have the priest keyword on the War Scroll, then you can't give him enhancements like curse or, you know, so how do you actually give him a prayer to use? I mean, obviously we haven't seen this game book, so maybe there's something in there, or maybe it's reworded for the book, but it doesn't seem to work, because all it would really allow you to do is use the generic ones, which, you know, which might be useful, but you give up your cast, which is massive. And you might better get rid of an incantation, but I think that's at the start, because you could do it because it's start as well. So I don't know. Like, I don't see that being very useful. Very quirky. You probably forget you can even do it, to be honest. Obviously, you get a chanting bonus, which is nice, and a casting bonus. Now, this is the new sexy rule. So you've got Stirring Beyond the Veil. Once per battle, at the start of your hero phase, if 7 or more wounds are allocated, you can say the Grey Seer will shatter the bell. So you roll a dice. On a 1, the unit's destroyed. On any other roll, you add the number of wounds that you've taken to the dice roll. If it's 12 or less, the Screaming Bell is shattered. If the modified roll is 13 or more, the Screaming Bolt is shattered and you can summon a Vermin Lord. Add it to your army. The Vermin Lord must be set up wholly within 13 of this unit. It can be set up within 3 of an enemy unit if this unit's within 3 of that enemy unit. Otherwise, it must be 9 away. If the unit's Screaming Bell shattered, it can no longer cast Crack's Call and cannot use the Peal of Doom ability. So basically, you roll a 1, you blow up your bell, you get 13 or higher, you get a Vermin Lord. Anything else, it just stops getting its abilities, which happens anyway if you roll a 13, but you don't get Vermin Lord. So you've got Cracked Call, which is a cast for 6 and a range of 13. So if it's successful, pick an enemy unit in range, roll 2d6. If the roll's greater than the unit's move, the unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the difference between its move characteristic and the roll, rounding up. I don't know why we would need to round, because it's a whole number, right? This spell has no effect on units that can fly. So you could do quite a lot of damage to stuff if you roll high, or they've got like movement 4 or 5. You could do quite a few mortal wounds. It's not a very long range, but yeah, it's okay. It's similar. I think the Sinestro got a similar spell. I think there's, you know, I think it's there's a couple spells like that in the game, but we'll see. Then you've got Peal of Doom, which again is at the start of your hero phase. So this is the thing about the Stirring Beyond the Veil. That's also the start. So you could choose the order. So you could actually use Peal of Doom, then blow up the bell and try and get the Vermin Lord. So you could actually still do the Peal of Doom, on the same turn you shatter the bell, which I'm not sure is intention, but because they're both at the start, you choose the order. You use the Peal of Doom, then you use the Stirring, then you can't use Peal of Doom again for the rest of the game. So start your hero phase, you say it's ring, it's stream and bell, roll a dice. So it's a d6, not 2d6 roll. So 1, you take d3 mortal wounds, and you can't save them. A 2, you get to add 6 to its move, which is it's okay, I guess. A 3, you get to subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units that are within 13 of any friendly screaming bells for which you rolled this result in the phase. So you can have multiple. Then you've got deafening peals. Until your next hero phase, roll a dice each time an enemy model is picked to issue a command once within 13 of any friendly screaming bells for which you rolled this result. On a 5+, you cannot use the command ability. I got a crescendo. Until your next hero phase, after this unit makes a charge, you can pick an enemy unit within 1 inch, roll a dice. On a 2+, it takes d6 mortal wounds. And then a 6, end of the hero phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 13. For each which you resolve this result for. On a 4+, d3 mortal wounds. So they're okay, all quite short. It's very random. Like, it's Skaven. I expect it to be random. So one of the biggest things with this is there's no immunity to Battle Shock Bubble. The Screaming Bell used to have an AoE, you ignore Battle Shock. Now Skaven have got a very low bravery. Obviously, we don't know what the allegiance abilities are going to be in the book, so there might be something moved into there. There might be a generic rule that helps with that, with the Screaming Bell or whatever, or the Grey Seer. I don't know, but yeah, lots of changes on there. I'm not sure it does a lot. I'm not sure if it's better or worse. The getting a free Vermin Lord sounds cool, but I don't know how likely that is. I mean, obviously, if you're getting hit and you don't die, and you're on you've had 11 wounds allocated, then you go, well, I might as well go for it. Basically, a 3+ to get a Vermin Lord. That could be quite swingy. So people are going to want to kill this in a 1-er. If it's surrounded by models, maybe it's difficult. I don't know. There might be ways to, influence doing damage to yourself with endless spells, things like that. If you want to make it easier, you might be able to do some sort of weird list where you've got multiple and you put in Burning Head for yourself, and then you try and get to a stage where you're like, I've got 4 bells, they're all going to go for it. I need to roll, I don't know, 5s or 6s. I get 4 dice, but you might as well just buy the Vermin Lord, right? I don't know, but we'll see. Interesting. So quite cool. I love the Screaming Bell model, but I'm not sure that's very good. The Deathmaster now. This guy's really good. I think the potential is great, and if you guys have seen the War Scrolls from the Nether Maze, they're a particularly good unit to put into a Skaven army because the damage potential's there. And if this is a sign of what's going to happen with Eshin units, Eshin are going to be really, really good. So you've got 5 wounds, 4 up save, movement 7, it's bravery 5. He's got a 12-inch range, 5 attacks, 4s, no rend, but it's d3 damage, and 5 attacks in combat, 3s, rend 1, d3 damage with Weeping Blade. But Eshin Toxins, if the modified hit roll for an attack is a 6, that's shooting and melee, the target takes d3 mortal wounds. So that's d3 mortals for each dice where you roll a 6 to hit in both shooting and melee. That's really strong. You could really do a lot of damage for that. He can run and still shoot, which is quite nice. Obviously, we've got the scurry away ability, so it allows you to duck out of combat and stuff. I don't know if that's still a thing in the new battle tome. We'll have to wait and see, but I imagine it's very flavorful, so I guess something will stay in like that. He's got the hidden killer rule. When you select unit to be part of your army, pick a clan rat or storm vermin unit in your army, which is hiding. Record this information on a piece of paper. Do not set this unit up until it's revealed as described next. Can't have more than 1 Deathmaster in the same clan rats or storm vermin. At the start of the combat phase, if the unit is hidden, you can reveal it. So you don't have to be in combat with the unit. You can just say start of the combat phase. So that's both players. Obviously, that's after the shooting phase, which is a little bit annoying because you can't shoot and you can't do it in the charge phase. You can't unleash hell with him. It would have been really cool if it was start of the charge phase and you could pop him out and go, well, if you charge him, I'm going to unleash hell. Or, there was a reaction that you could use with him. We don't know. There might be some special rules for Eshin. I don't know. But I feel like it seems like a missed opportunity for that. What is quite nice, though, is that they could charge a unit of like clan rats, and then you put him basically, you put him wholly within 3 of the unit, and it doesn't have any restrictions about being in melee or in range of the enemy. So you could almost choose, do I want to be in melee? No, I'll put him at the back, out the way. Oh, yes, I do. I'll put him just within 3. They can't pile in and hit him because he's behind them. They kill them, he piles in, he attacks. So quite cool. And also, if the unit's destroyed, then you can reveal him, set it up within 3 of the unit where it was hidden, and then you basically take a mortal wound. So yeah, you just set it up wholly within 3 of the unit is hidden. So yeah, it's pretty good. I guess it would be the last model you take off, or when you take the damage where the unit is before you remove it. But I think the model is absolutely gorgeous. It's like my favorite model that they've released for a long time. Just the actual character of this is so good. I mean, like the Underworld's warband is amazing as well. And they've got a pop-up scout move with the same rule with the Eshin toxins and a hero that could bounce wounds. They're just really good. I'll try and get the War Scroll up and talk about it after I finish this, if I can find it, because I just looked through the book in Nevermaze. It's not in there, so it must be on the website somewhere. Google will find it, I'm sure. But, you know, Deathmaster is 170 points, though, which is a lot of points for something like that. And I know he's good, but is he worth that? I would have said he's probably more like 150 points. I just, maybe even less. I know he's a combat hero. He's got a cool scouty rule, but you need clan rats and storm vermin, so it's not like a big deal. He does do a lot of more wounds, but he's not a wizard. He's like 5 wounds with 4-up saves. So he's not super reliable. He doesn't have a ward save. There's no like Eshin Jink save, although that might be in the allegiance abilities. We don't know. So he seems pricey for that. The Grey Seer is 265, which seems okay because it's a wizard. And again, I think the Grey Seer, it used to be about 200 points. You forgive me, it's a long time since I've looked at Skaven. So I've got the battle tome, but obviously the points changed in the handbook, so I'm not sure. But it seems, again, expensive. And then we've got the clan rats and storm vermin, which have got a rework. So obviously they're basically, the clan rats are almost the same. The biggest difference really is they've got this sieving swarm rule that just means at the end of the battle shock phase, that's both players, you could just get D3 models back. So they just regenerate models, and that's quite cool and thematic. I like that. The other thing is the claw shield. So the shield used to give you +1, so a 6-up save with +1. Now it's a 5-up, which is good for all-out defense because you're not losing the fact that you can't all-out defense them. So they can get a 4-up armor save with a command point. I mean, there's still clan rats at the end of the day. They're bravery 4, you know, but you do get 20 of them for 130 points. Their battle line, which is, you know, cool. What's nice to see is you've got the storm vermin, 135 points for 10. So a few changes on these guys. So they hit on 3s, not 4s, which is a nice bonus. Obviously, in the current book, they get bonuses to hit and wound with the numbers of models in units. Is this a sign that that's changing? We don't know. At the moment, though, you can be 2s and 2s with Rend 1. I'm a bit disappointed they've only got a 1-inch reach when they've got halberds. That seems like an oversight. Hopefully that's fixed in the battle tome, but I wouldn't like bet my house on it. So then, because the reach seems to be super inconsistent with stuff, you know, to talk about the Vampire Lord with Lance, let's just leave it at that. So again, they've still got the +2 to run rolls, same with the clan rats, and you know, they can retreat and charge with the banner, same with the clan rats. So you know, they're elite bodyguards. So if a friendly hero is within 3, before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to that hero, instead of making a ward roll a dice, add 2. If the hero has the Verminous keyword on a 4+, it's allocated to this unit instead, it can't be negated. Now, what this means, you've got unfortunately, you don't have the Verminous keyword on the Screaming Bell, but what you can do is you can try and manipulate the damage bounce if they're trying to target the Grey Seer on Bell. So the bell doesn't die, but it has taken so many wounds, you should be able to summon a free Vermin Lord out of it. You know, prop up a Vermin Lord Warbringer or something like that for free. It's gonna feel pretty good. I really like Storm Vermin. I love the models. I like the fact you get 10 for 135 points. You know, it's 10 attacks, freeze, rend 1/1 damage. Not particularly brave, but Skaven have got the rule where you get extra bravery per models in the unit. I think it's +2 for each 10. So if you had like 30 of them, they're +6 bravery. So, you know, you can kind of get around the low bravery. Obviously, not having an immune to battle shock from the bell is a big minus. So obviously that might apply to the Plague Furnace as well, which then obviously Plague Monk armies are going to be like, oh my god, command points are going to be a thing. We don't know what the army special rules in the new battle tome is going to be, but yeah, so that's the kind of the updates in the book. And you know, we can see that there's quite a cool direction with the Eshin poison. That seems very good. That's consistent with the Underworld's warband. The Screaming Bells had a bit of a rework. The Deathmaster seems great, but eye-wateringly expensive. Gossamid Archers, I think, look really good, but I think you're going to probably see like... I don't think you're going to take Kurnoth Hunters with bows over those. Like, I don't see why you would. You know, not having mortals, yeah, they do 2 damage, fine, but I don't know. They just seem like, you know, back in 2017 when they landed, they seemed like the best shooting unit in the game, and then Enlightened come along and Sentinels come along, and you know, there's so many other units in the game, like even Reavers do, I think, a better job than that Sharks, you know, so you just look at it and go, are they that good? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't... That's a lot of points. You pay a lot for the defense, and I think you're not necessarily wanting to pay that on a shooting unit. And I think although the Gossamid Archers feel squishy, they're going to be really hard to get to, and they're going to be doing a lot of damage. I'm just really thankful they don't have a long range. If they had a 24-inch range, they'd just be insane. Like a 12-inch move, 12-inch range is still good, but at least they got to be within striking distance. We'll see how defensive you can make a unit for them to be near. Like if you had like a big horde of Dryads and they're behind it, they shoot you and they come in, then they can move away. That might be really good. Lady of Vines is kind of interesting. She seems like quite a good utility support piece. Again, we won't see if she fits into the army or how she does. I mean, a 2-cast wizard. Obviously, the Treeman Ancient at the moment is only 1 cast. Hopefully, in the new book, he's been fixed, because I think an Ancient should be a 2-cast wizard. But until we see the battle tome, we just don't know. So yeah, I think some nice little pointers on direction of things, like the damage brackets going up, which is inconsistent across other war scrolls. The fact that Sylvaneth are getting quite a few new war scrolls by the looks of it. I've just done a bit of searching for the Skittershank War Scroll. You've got his unit and the character himself. So he's got the character himself has got 4 shots, 12-inch range, 4s, no rend, D3 damage, 6 attacks, freeze, rend 1, D3 damage. They've all got the Eshin Toxin rule, which is if you roll a 6 to hit, they do D3 mortals. They can run and shoot. Obviously, this is the character. And he's got misdirection. So if he's within 1 inch of a claw pack, then at the start of the combat phase, the strike first effect applies to this unit. In addition, after this unit's fought, if this unit is 1 inch of a claw pack unit, you can retreat. So you can charge in, hit first, and then he can run away. Then the unit can hit because you go back into normal sequencing. So the impact of these guys is really high. Then you've got the claw pack itself, and the claw pack is, I think it's 4 guys. So you've got Snip, Padpaw, Creep, Kin Whisper, Chromic, and Skulk. So you've got Sword and Fighting Claw, Thing and Net, Tonfa and Dagger, and Sling and Stab Blade. So you've got 1 sling in the unit, which is the 4 shots, 4s, no rend, 1 damage. And then the unit itself has got what, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attacks, different profiles. But again, Eshin poison. So that's 9 attacks from them. Any 6 is D3 mortals, and 4 attacks in the shooting phase. Any 6 is D3 mortals, plus the character who's got 10 attacks, 4 from shooting, 6 in melee. And again, that's a lot of chances to do mortal wounds. Then you've got during the deployment, so this is the Kin Whispers Rattlings. During deployment, it says set this unit up on the battlefield, place it to one side and say it's infiltrating the foe as a reserve unit. If you do, when you set up a friendly Slink Skittershank during deployment, you can say he will join the unit, so they're both infiltrating. The end of your first movement phase, you must set this unit up on the battlefield wholly within 6 of a terrain feature and more than 6 from all enemy units. Then if Slink join the unit, he can be within 1 inch of the unit and more than 6. So 6 inches away, so that's only a 6-inch charge. But they've got a 12-inch range, so that's 8 dice from the 2 units combined, 6 do mortals. Then you can charge, then you're rolling. You can attack with both units before they get to swing at you, because he gets always strike first. Then the unit can strike. They only need to roll 6s on the charge, and he's rolling like 6 dice, and they're rolling like, 9 dice. So that's 15 dice, 6s do D3 mortals. I mean, that's just great. And the unit can basically run and still shoot. They've got 2 wins each, 5 up save. I really like the models, they're badass. 255 points for this unit. That's, if you think the Deathmaster in his own is 170, he's way better. And like the unit, it's just a great unit. Like if I was playing Skaven, these would almost be an auto include, because I think there's so many armies they would cause a headache for. And like they're just a unit that when they get to do their charge and do their damage, they're just so much damage. The potential there is crazy. So I think these are great. I really like the models. I love the feel of them. I think they'll work really well. Obviously they're quite, you have to play around it, and it's only in the first phase, you don't have a choice. So if they pop up early and your opponent's screened properly, then they're not going to do as much. But some people just leave that gap, and they're only on small bases, and 6 inches is quite hard to defend against, and you've got the whole terrain thing. Yeah, I really like these guys. I think they're a great little unit. You combine that, I think for the points cost, I'd rather have them than have the Deathmaster. But if this is anything to go by with Eshin, like, is the Deceiver going to have that on his throwing star and on his melee attacks? Is he going to have Eshin toxins? So you can have like gutter runners and night runners, and is it actually Eshin going to be a really solid army in the new battle tome? I think that would be super popular as well. Yeah, I really like the direction they've gone with these. So just the mortal spike potential is great. So yeah, I just wanted to bring those up because we're talking about Skaven. I know it's not really the box set, but yeah, it's good. Obviously the other War Scrolls that have come out with Nevermaze, we've had the other guys, but yeah, you've got the Shadeborn is the other one, which is the 290 points for the Daughters of Cain ones. They're Hagnar, I haven't read them, but we should really cover it when we did the Daughters show, but I'll just talk about them now actually. So you've got Syphilis Shadestalker. It's got a shooting attack, freeze, rend 1 damage, 3 attacks in melee, damage 3. Oh, okay, pretty good. 5 wounds, obviously a hero. In your movement phase, instead of making a normal move, you can shadow leap, remove this unit 9 inches from one enemy units. Well, this unit is more than 9 from enemy units, and this unit and the Shadeborn units wholly within 9 have a ward of 4 up. Okay, pretty good. End of the charge phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit, roll 2d6. If score exceeds their bravery, they cannot issue or receive commands. Again, that's pretty good. Obviously, like bravery 10 on a lot of stuff, so it's not going to be that impactful, but like it depends what you're facing, right? I mean, end of the charge phase to the end of the turn, so you could stop Inspiring Presence against Skaven. That would be super effective. Then you've got the Shadeborn themselves, which are 3 models, 2 wins each, 4 up save, that's decent. 6-inch range curse missiles, freeze, and 1/1 damage. 4 attacks in melee, freeze, rend 1 damage. Again, they can shadow leap as well. 9 away. So yeah, pretty cool. 290 points for that unit. I mean, it's quite steep. I'm not sure you'll see them play. I mean, a normal unit of shade stalkers are like 150, so they're quite pricey, but the hero seems very cool. Models are badass, so maybe you'll see them for that. But yeah, quite interested. And they are Hagnar, so which is going to be the most popular temple. But yeah, but again, like the Skittershank claw pack is bob on. So yeah, that's basically the Echoes of Doom box set and a little bonus Nevermaze War Scroll. So I just thought I'd throw in. So I really like the box set. I think you get some really nice models in there. The Sylvaneth stuff's going to be super popular, and I think that'll be worth quite a bit, because obviously I don't know how long you have to wait to get those models separately. But if it's going by like stuff like the Tidecaster, it'd be a while. So yeah, but the Deathmaster, the model is amazing. I just want to paint him, really. I think he's great. He's got to be like one of my favorite models. So although he's not particularly amazing, and I really like the Skittershank claw pack. If they do a whole Eshin range like that, I'll be all over it, because I just think I always loved my Skaven, but I think the Eshin stuff seems really, really cool. If they play into this like sneaky stab Weeping Blade poison ambushing stuff, I'm really down for that. So yeah, I always like my Storm Vermin, so maybe there's some Skaven army in the future for me, who knows. But yeah, anyway, that's the show. It's out for pre-order today, so if you want to pick it up and support us, and from the UK, you can go to Element Games and click through the link in the description. That helps support us. Like and subscribe to the algorithm stuff, and check out the channel for more match play content. We will be doing some tournament report on the Carnage event that we're currently at while this is premiering, so I'm not in the chat room, but hopefully you guys have had a discussion amongst yourselves. And we will be doing some follow-up list tech shows for Nighthaunt and Daughters of Cain. So I've got a couple of Nighthaunt lists I want to get on the table and get table ready. I've also got a couple IDK lists sort of working around using Morsar, Guard, and a King, which I want to get ready for a couple of events I've got coming up. I've got a team event, which is Brotherhood in Cardiff. And I've also got a one-dayer next weekend where I'm going, which I probably won't get the eels for that because I won't have them painted. But yeah, I would probably take the IDK again. I might try and take the Nighthaunt if I'm allowed. I don't know if they're allowing those books. But yeah, it's just a one day, so it's a little mess about, really. But yeah, we'll do some coverage on that as well. So if you want to hear about our experiences on match play reports when a new battle tome or box set drops, we cover the War Scrolls and what they do. Like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Hit the bell, and thanks for watching, and I'll check you all guys in the next one.